You don't sit here unless you pay, girl. This isn't Detroit. The cafeteria went silent, not the normal kind of quiet, not the kind that fades. This silence stayed. 16-year-old Aaliyah Brooks stood in the center aisle of Maplewood High School in Riverside, Indiana, holding a plastic lunch tray that suddenly felt heavier than it should. New school, new city. Third day in a place that already felt hostile. The boy who said it leaned back in his chair like he owned the room. Tall, varsity jacket, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Evan Cole. Two boys hovered behind him close enough to crowd her space without touching her. A few students laughed, most just watched. Phones slowly lifted. Aaliyah looked past Evan toward an empty table by the windows. She could walk there. She could sit, she could eat fast and disappear. That would have been easy, but the way he said Detroit told her this wasn't about a seat. It was about permission. I don't owe you anything. Her voice was calm, too calm for someone being tested. Evan's smile widened. That's cute. Everybody owes something here. You just choose how you pay. Aaliyah set her tray down slowly, not surrendering, grounding herself. I'm not paying to exist. For a brief moment, Evan looked surprised. Then his face hardened. You'll learn, everybody does. He stood and leaned closer. And when you do, remember you could have made this easy. Aaliyah picked up her tray, walked around him, sat alone. She unwrapped her sandwich like nothing had happened. Her hands didn't shake. Across the room, a quiet boy named Marcus Hill watched her, not impressed. Worried, because at Maplewood High, saying no out loud never ended a problem. It started one. That morning, Aaliyah had been awake before her alarm, staring at a ceiling that still felt unfamiliar. 3 days earlier, a moving truck had pulled away from their Detroit apartment. Now the house in Riverside felt too quiet, too open. In the basement, a heavy bag hung from a steel beam. Her mother had insisted on setting it up the first night, not because she expected trouble, because she understood how the world worked when people decided you were an easy target. Aaliyah wrapped her hands, tight, clean, then she started, jab, cross, hook. The rhythm wasn't anger, it was discipline. 8 years of training had taught her one rule above all others: control first. Upstairs, her mother's voice floated down. Aaliyah, breakfast. Dr. Renee Brooks stood in the kitchen in hospital scrubs, coffee untouched, eyes scanning her daughter like a chart. You good? Aaliyah shrugged. It's just school. Renee didn't push, she never did, but before Aaliyah left, she said one thing: don't shrink yourself to make anyone comfortable. Maplewood High proved her right. The hallways were bright. The faces mostly white. The stares weren't always hateful. Some were curious, some calculating. By the end of lunch, everyone knew the new girl's name, and Evan Cole decided she needed to be taught something. After 7th period, Aaliyah reached her locker and the lock wouldn't turn. She tried again, nothing, then she saw it. Gum jammed deep inside, a laugh came from behind her. Man, that sucks. Locks can be tricky. She didn't turn around. She dug the gum out carefully and kept moving. No scene, no reaction. Marcus Hill appeared as the hallway cleared. You just made yourself a target, he said quietly. I was a target the second I walked in, Aaliyah replied. Marcus swallowed. Evan's family runs this town. His uncle wears a badge. People cover for him. If he wants you gone, they'll help. Aaliyah shut her locker. Then they'll have to try. Marcus shook his head. He doesn't fight fair. I'm not looking for a fight. Marcus looked away. Neither were the kids he broke last year. The harassment turned into a routine. A notebook disappeared. A backpack strap was sliced halfway through. A shoulder bump sent her books to the floor. Fake apologies, real laughter. Teachers missed it. Students saw it. Nobody stopped it. In English class, the teacher asked Aaliyah to share her thoughts on the reading. She spoke clearly, careful, thoughtful. When she finished, Evan's voice cut in from the back. Wow, you're really well-spoken. The room stiffened. The teacher hesitated. Aaliyah turned slowly. People tend to be when they're educated. A few snickers escaped, then died quickly. Evan didn't smile. Friday morning was worse. Aaliyah walked to her locker and froze. A banana was taped to the metal door. Beside it, a note written in thick marker. Welcome to the jungle. Students gathered nearby, pretending to pass through. Waiting, watching, Aaliyah peeled the banana off, crumpled the note, then folded the tape and slipped it into her pocket. Evidence. Evan appeared like he'd been watching. Didn't like your welcome gift. She shut her locker. You should work on your handwriting, makes things easier to trace. His jaw tightened. You keep forgetting where you are. Aaliyah leaned closer, her voice low. I know exactly where I am. Lunch was another setup, a hard shoulder bump. Her tray crashed to the floor, food everywhere. Oops! She knelt, cleaned it up, stood again. Her face stayed calm, but something inside her locked into place. Eighth period study hall was the real attack. The monitor stepped out. Evan walked in smiling, holding a small speaker. Since everyone's confused about her, I figured I'd let her speak for herself. Aaliyah's voice filled the room, but the words weren't hers. Clipped, twisted, spliced into something ugly. Whispers erupted. A girl muttered, "I knew it." Aaliyah stood. "That's fake." Evan shrugged. "Sounds like you to me." The monitor returned. The room snapped into silence. Evan sat down, smiling. Aaliyah walked out holding her books tight. In the hallway, Marcus caught up to her. "That recording was edited. I was there." Aaliyah didn't slow down. "Doesn't matter. He wants people to believe it." Marcus grabbed her sleeve. "Don't give him what he wants." "He's setting you up." Aaliyah pulled free. "He already made me the villain." She walked toward the exit. And for the first time since she arrived in Riverside, Indiana, Aaliyah Brooks stopped trying to survive quietly. After school, Evan and his friends were laughing in the parking lot like they'd already won. Aaliyah walked toward them and dropped her backpack near the entrance. Evan saw her coming and grinned. "Look who finally wants to talk. I'm done with your games, the thefts, the note, the fake audio. It ends. It ends when I say it ends." A few students slowed down, phones lifted again. "Last chance." "Leave me alone." Evan stepped closer. "What are you gonna do?" His hand reached for her wrist. Aaliyah moved, not wild, not angry, precise. She twisted free, redirected his momentum, and he stumbled. One boy lunged. She swept his legs. He hit the asphalt hard. The third hesitated, then rushed in. She blocked, redirected, and drove him back with a short strike that knocked the air from his lungs. Evan charged again, furious now. Aaliyah avoided, timed, and dropped him clean. When it ended, Evan was on the ground, stunned more than hurt. "We done?" His voice sounded smaller. "Yeah, we're done." Aaliyah picked up her backpack and walked away. The parking lot buzzed with disbelief. Not because she fought, because she didn't lose control. That night, two younger girls from her school reached out online. They were scared. The next afternoon, Aaliyah met them at a bus stop on Maple Street. A beat-up Camaro pulled up. Three older boys stepped out laughing. One moved too close. "You bring backup, sweetheart?" "Walk away," they laughed. Then a hand grabbed one of the girls. Aaliyah moved once, quick, controlled. The boy yelped. The others rushed in. She dropped them fast enough that the laughter died. A phone was already recording. By dinner, the video was everywhere. Finally, someone stood up. That's the girl from Maplewood. Evan watched it with ice in his veins, and something inside him turned desperate. Monday morning, assault complaints were filed. 6 boys, 2 schools, 1 story. Police called Aaliyah in. Renee Brooks sat beside her, holding her daughter's hand. A lawyer listened carefully. "Do we have proof?" "Yes." At school, students erupted. Justice for Aaliyah. Kids who stayed silent for years started speaking. Teachers remembered reports they ignored. In court, Evan tried to play the victim. "She attacked us." The lawyer played the original classroom audio, then the edited version. The truth landed fast. Bus stop footage followed, hands reaching. Threats spoken, Aaliyah stepping in. Witnesses spoke. Patterns emerged. Finally, Aaliyah spoke. "I came here to go to school. I defended myself. I defended them." The judge returned. "Not guilty on all charges." Then came the words that changed everything. "I recommend investigation for false reporting and perjury." Evan went pale. Influence didn't save him. In the weeks that followed, consequences arrived. Real ones. Evan was pulled from Maplewood. Programs changed. Rules were enforced. Aaliyah's self-defense group became official. Confidence replaced fear. Months later, Aaliyah sat in the same cafeteria, same tables, different air. She didn't smile because she won. She smiled because silence had finally lost, because courage had changed the room, and because sometimes the new girl isn't weak. Sometimes she's the reason everything finally gets better.